Well, hello, and welcome to another video for another classroom behavior management strategy. This particular strategy I'm about to share is called poker points. And even though the game sounds like it's a primer for Vegas lifestyle, it is actually more about a multiple way strategy of getting students to remain engaged and to even stay in the hunt for positive reinforcement, even when it may seem as though the day isn't going quite as well. So in poker points, all you really need is one or two sets of playing cards from the dollar store or anywhere. Very inexpensive. I recommend two just because it kind of increases the odds of winning, and if you lose cards, it's not that big of a deal. So how this works is you'd walk around the classroom at any given time period. It could be done throughout a whole day, but if you have just one class session, that's fine. And there's a couple different ways to play this game. So one method would be to give students cards as they earn them. And all you would simply do is for answering a question or participating in class, remaining engaged, whatever behavior you want to target, you would simply walk up and give the student one card. The idea here is that the card goes face down on the student's desk, so they don't know what the actual value of the card is. In this case, it's a 10. But let's pretend they see only this side. So it's laying down. Now, as the time period goes on, you can keep passing out cards, and students can accumulate as many cards as possible in that time period. Now, the key thing here is quantity is not really as important because, as we know in card playing, you could have a bigger hand in your hand without actually having a lot of cards. So if a student has even just two cards, in this case, it was a king and a two, and you maybe say kings are worth 15 points in your classroom. You can decide that on your own. This might be a very good hand as opposed to a student that might have three cards, but it's a two, a five, and a four. Then, the two hand might win as opposed to the three hand. So that's one way of doing it. And the student with the highest hands could get a reinforcement, a homework pass, extra credit, had an assignment a day late, whatever your coupons you might want to use in your classroom. The other option behind that is also to give the students all the cards up front. So, for example, you give them a predetermined number of cards and have it in the room when they walk in. So let's say I'm going to give them 5 cards. And the idea is they don't know, again, what the 5 cards are. So they would keep those cards on their desk all class, all half day, all day long. And then when you tell them to, they can flip it over and find out what the value is. And again, the highest hand wins. The difference between this version of it is that if the students are not being compliant, are not following directions, you have the right to take a card from them, reducing your chances of having the highest hand. This might be easier in the sense of management because the cards are already on the desk and you don't have to worry about giving them all out equally around the room. That's better for a longer time period, like a whole day or even over a week's time. And you could do it that way. And now you just flip it over at the end, and whoever's the biggest hand would win. Okay. Now, the other option with the poker points is that students could bank the points as well. So maybe not a reinforcer right that minute. And in the slides I provide to go with this on poker points, I give the idea of like a menu chart. So for example, let's say the day's over and I kept 3 cards and I have a 2, a king, let's say it's worth 15 again, and a 10 worth 10. So I've got 27 points. I could bank these cards and record them in a notebook somewhere. And then when I get to a number of points, that can turn into a reinforcer. For example, maybe you want to say 100 points is a homework pass. Or, 200 points would be, drop a lowest assignment in the class. Or maybe 300 points is to choose your seat for 2 days in the classroom. But they can bank the points. So if they can delay their reinforcement and not want to get it right that moment at the end of the class period, you can certainly do poker points that way as well. But very easy. All you need is 2 sets of cards. There's a couple different variations I mentioned that you could try them out with, depending on if you're going to go whole day or just by class period. Again, whole day, you can hand out the cards as you go along. A single class period, I might recommend giving out 5 cards at the start and seeing what happens. Students want to call your bluff, you can have them shuffle it and then pass them out. You can have helpers do that as well. A lot of options there. So poker points is a great strategy, and I hope you get a chance to use it in the future.